is gone out of. They do not have a sense of humor. You can't make fun of a liberal because they'll turn it around and somehow you'll be, a racist, bigot, or homophobe, or all three, or any combination of the three. And, even if I have made, some self-deprecating jokes. You got to be able to laugh at yourself every once in a while, right? So other people don't take you too seriously if you don't take yourself all that seriously. And people like people who do not take themselves too seriously. But I have had, I've had people who have not seen me. Maybe I've made a joke on Facebook or Twitter. Twitter's, it happens sometimes, but I don't know how you don't know what a person looks like on social media, because all of social media has pictures of people. Well, I guess some people don't put their picture on their social media accounts, but my picture's on all of my social media accounts. That helps people to be sure that they're getting the real me. Now, I know somebody else could take a picture of me, take one of my pictures from somewhere, copy and paste it. But the whole point is that at least if it's a picture of me, there's a better chance that it's the real, one of my real social media accounts. So my picture's everywhere on my social media accounts. So it's not that they could not possibly know what I look like. But I've had people, especially on Twitter, tell me, well, geez, you're kind of racist. That's kind of a racist joke. Well, what are you talking about? I have to remind people, well, I'm black, so how's that racist? Remember, there's two things. One, you can't be racist against your own kind. And two, blacks can't be racist, remember? That's what we're told by liberals. Blacks can't be racist. But I have gotten it. So I know that there are people out there that liberals especially, that just do not have a sense of humor. Not at all. And that's too bad. And this is probably why liberals are still so miserable, even though they're gaining ground and getting, so much of their agenda over the past couple of years. They're getting a lot of what they want, and yet they're still not happy about it. They're still miserable. I think it's because they don't have a sense of maybe we need to do. I don't know if there's a doctor of chiropractic out there. Maybe they can help me with this. But there must be a humor or funny bone in the body. There really has to be. I'm not talking about when you bang your elbow the wrong way, although that might be it. But there's got to be some sort of connection between, I don't know, wherever your humor center is in the brain. And that having a chiropractor adjust your body could relieve the blockage of wherever that humor center is from sending and receiving signals to your brain. So I'm sure that's a possibility. Hey, that they ought to look at that and put that in Obamacare. Hey, you need a sense of humor? Go to your local chiropractor and they'll be able to adjust your body so it frees the humor flow between your humor center and your brain. In that way, maybe then, liberals will be a little bit more happy and they'll be able to take a joke every now and then because they just, I know that there are people out there that are thinking, really? Is there really a humor center and a chiropractor can release the energy flow for that? I guarantee you, folks, there are people out there right now that just heard that and thought they're making tomorrow, as soon as they get the chance, they're making an appointment with their chiropractor. And I'm just going to, if you're a chiropractor, maybe I probably shouldn't say this, but if you're a chiropractor, why not just play along for a little bit? Although if they don't have a sense of humor, they might not get your joke, and you might end up in court being sued. But I don't know if you're doing it to a liberal, it might be worth it. Do what you want, but I know some people are gonna. I do. If you want to write me, go right ahead. You could write. There's two emails you can get at me. That's Rod's. Well, of course, you can send me an email on Facebook or any of the social media, or you could get me at rodsblogs@yahoo.com or the Rod Eccles Show @gmail.com. And every once in a while, I get emails from people, and some people, they're very encouraging, and they like me, and they like what I say, and that kind of thing. And then of course, you get liberals out there. You're just a total sellout and idiot, man. I mean, they can be violent too. I had one person once tell me that, they ought to stuff you into a coffin half your size and fold you in half and bury you upside down. Now, I don't know what, I thought that was kind of graphic, especially the bury me upside down part. Is that an added insult, I guess? But I'm telling you, this is, liberals, they claim to be so very open and accepting, and that is not, I have not really experienced that. I was having a conversation about global warming, this old curmudgeon from Vermont decided to take me on, and I gotta admit, he didn't really, well, he called me a dreamer. Like a dreamer. Well, I don't, if using logic is dreaming, I guess I am a dreamer, but his logic was not logic. It was illogic, and it was refutable over and over again. He just wanted to blame man for everything, and he even had the nerve to say, well, animals didn't go extinct until man started hunting them. I'm like, are you kidding me? And this guy must have been about 70 or 80 years old. So animals never went extinct before man appeared on the planet and started hunting. That is a bunch of, that's some of the big, I guess mankind was around with the dinosaur, and man hunted the dinosaur into extinction. I don't know. I'm just, because we haven't had any extinctions, man is the cause of all extinction on the planet. And, so we need to, we're overpopulated according to him. And, I tried to bring it, we started off on global warming, and I tried to, tell this guy, well, the earth has been both warmer and cooler than it is today, and that climate has changed slower and faster than it is today. And obviously in the historical past, man could not have affected it. And you know what he told me? He basically said, no, the climate's always been the same until the Industrial Revolution. I don't know how you can say that when you're talking about the few ice ages that we've had, as well as some of the warming up periods, especially around the Middle Ages, that the planet has had. I don't know how he justifies that stuff, but especially at his age, he should know better. Maybe it wasn't even his picture, but, I don't know anybody who would use a picture of a 70 to 80-year-old man instead of their real picture, unless they're 100. Then the 70 or 80-year-old would be younger than they are, but look younger than they actually are. But I don't think that's the case. But this is a liberal for you. This is Bernie Sanders, Vermont liberal, by the way, making absolutely no sense. I mean, it's to the point, like, you look at, I'm reading his responses, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, I'm not even exactly sure how to handle that kind of stuff, because it's so blatantly inaccurate. And it's so, maybe he was testing me to see where I would go with this, but it's almost at the point where you kind of feel sorry for the jackass. Yeah, I didn't call him a jackass, but I'm saying he's a jackass now because can you feel sorry for a jackass? I guess you can, because the person's a jackass, right? I don't, but I did. I almost felt sorry for him, but then I realized, you know what? Sometimes, as this old curmudgeon is, you have to really stop and think, well, if he really believes this kind of stuff, he's not the only one. There are a lot of younger people out there who believe this kind of stuff. And you know it just simply by talking to them and getting them to espouse, some of their beliefs about what they believe. And it's it's kind of embarrassing, actually. I feel embarrassed for these people when they don't even have the basics down. And of course you get people with the global warming stuff that tell you, well, it's settled science. No, it's far from settled. Well, it's settled because there's a consensus. And yesterday I already went over that science is not built on consensus. Consensus is not science. Consensus is opinion. And science is not opinion. Science is fact. Plain and simple. And the fact is that this whole man-made global warming thing has been debunked over and over and over and over and over again. I don't know what we got to do just to, look, we know that on their side, a lot of their data is faked anyway. We know a lot of their documentaries aren't documentaries. They're just they're propaganda because they're filled with lies and half-truths and mistruths and stretching the truths and everything but the absolute God's honest truth is in those things. And, this stuff is, so even when we show and prove that through their own writings and their own sayings that they faked a lot of this data and this stuff doesn't really exist, we still have people out there saying, well, it's settled science. The consensus is it's settled science. Well, no, consensus is not science. And this whole notion that, all real scientists across the globe agree with the global warming protocol is also a bunch of bunk. And this whole notion that mankind is responsible for all creatures that have gone extinct on this planet is also a bunch of bunk. And the whole notion that the planet is overpopulated with mankind is a bunch of bunk. And this whole notion that man is not a part of nature. Well, we live on this planet. We're a biological entity like just about everything else on the planet that is living. So how are we not a part of this planet? Unless you believe that we're an alien plant. And, we came from another world. Otherworldly beings put us here. The ancient aliens theory type of thing. No, that didn't happen. Sorry, no. But this whole notion that and you try to tell them, well, whatever happened to your belief in evolution? Well, I still believe in evolution. What does evolutionary theory? What does it propose, and what does it say, and what is it big on? What do you mean? Well, what does it say about the species and the propagation of species? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the survival of the fittest. Okay, well, mankind then is, the fittest animal on the planet. We've been able to survive and outthink and outmaneuver and outtool any other animal on the planet, so we're the fittest one on the planet, so we're surviving. Oh, but we shouldn't be here. Huh? It's you sit there and you scratch your head and you think, well, they're not making any sense. And when you have a logical brain like mine that is trying to fixate on the logical and where these people are coming from, unfortunately, I am not like the character of Spock. I do have emotion. And it drives me absolutely batty to try to deal with somebody on a logical basis, on the level of being logical, when they're totally and completely illogical and have no capacity to be logical whatsoever. Even when you give them the evidence that is irrefutable right in front of their face, they'll look at you and say, I don't believe it. Well, it doesn't really matter what you believe. Yeah, it matters what I believe. Now, look, if you believe that gravity doesn't exist, does it mean it doesn't exist? Well, no, it does exist. Just because you don't believe it doesn't make it so. I mean, but you can't tell them that. That's different. I don't know how that's different. But yeah, they drive me insane. They drive me batty. I try. Anyway, folks, we got to take a break, but we will be back and we'll get into some of the Hillary and Bill Clinton stuff that I promised you. Stay tuned.